The time has finally come where we're gearing up for the next console generation, and as a result, we've been seeing some hardware leaks enter the scene pretty frequently. With both the PS5 and the codename Xbox Scarlett probably releasing in the next year or two, it makes sense that we're starting to get some information regarding the upcoming consoles. So what exactly is rumored to be inside the next Xbox, and how is this realistically achievable? Okay, so let's get a few things out of the way. At this point, it seems pretty obvious that both Sony and Microsoft will be partnering with AMD once again, and will most likely be utilizing architectures and the such from their latest releases. Secondly, it's kind of early to be getting hard spec lists, so everything here should be taken with a grain of salt as nothing here is really confirmed. And even so, specs often change quite a bit before hardware releases. So with that out of the way, let's dive into this. So, from what Phil Spencer said back at E3 2018, there seems to be a couple of new Xboxes in the works. There are two leaked lists, with one of them being a fully featured Xbox being priced at $499, and a second Xbox streaming console being priced at $249. Spec-wise, these new consoles seem to have some cutting-edge hardware, which at this price point seems a little fishy, but let's get into this. So what exactly do these new Xboxes supposedly have under the hood? Well, the Xbox Scarlett is said to have an 8-core, 16-thread Zen 2 based CPU, and although no clock speeds are mentioned, if the next Xbox does in fact deliver a Zen 2 CPU, this console might actually be able to maintain 60 FPS gameplay if clocked at reasonable speeds. On the GPU side of things, the Xbox Scarlett is leaked to be rocking a custom Navi-based GPU with 12 plus teraflops of performance. Now, to me, this is a little hard to believe, as a GPU with ray tracing capabilities and 12 teraflops is rivaling an RTX 2080, which is available at well above the rumored launch price of $499. But whether or not this GPU is actually what's inside the Xbox Scarlett, the CPU should be able to pick up some of the slack, even if the GPU is less powerful than what was leaked. The memory configuration in this console is also definitely no slouch, with a leaked 16 gigs of GDDR6 and a 1TB NVMe SSD as general storage. The one thing that really sticks out to me is the 1TB SSD, which if we remember back to the Xbox One X, the dev kits were actually equipped with a 1TB SSD, while the finished release shipped with a regular hard drive. If these leaked specs are from a dev kit, then I wouldn't expect there to be a 1TB SSD to ship with the final product. It would just be so incredibly expensive, especially an NVMe SSD. So from the leaked specs of the Xbox Scarlett, this console seems to be decently powerful, but there are definitely some aspects that seem a little questionable. But along with the fully featured model, we also got leaked specs for a cheaper, less powerful model, which they called a quote-unquote streaming console. This variant is leaked to, once again, feature an 8-core, 16-thread Zen 2 based CPU, but this time paired with a custom 4 teraflop Navi-based GPU. While this does sound like it would be decently capable of 1080p 60fps gameplay, the GPU seems like it wouldn't really be that big of an upgrade, especially if you're coming from an Xbox One X. The sleek GPU is actually more in line with what the PS4 Pro offers, which to be real, 4 teraflops is more or less 1440p 1080p territory. Memory-wise, the cheaper variant is leaked to have 12 gigs of GDDR6 and once again feature a 1TB NVMe SSD. Once again, I doubt that a final product would ship with an SSD, but as of now, we don't really have any alternatives. In reality, we probably would actually see a 2TB HDD ship with the console instead of a 1TB SSD, but we don't really know. Now, the one thing that I'm very skeptical about is the ray tracing capabilities that both of the new Xboxes are said to have. While it's not that far of a stretch for the full Scarlett model, in the case of the cut-down streaming console, I don't think a 4 teraflop GPU would be reasonably equipped to run DXRT features at even 1080p 30fps. I think it would be more likely that the cheaper streaming console would be void of this expensive feature, and instead focus on traditional rasterization techniques and delivering a stable 60fps 1080p-ish experience. Either way, keep in mind that these are still leaks, and even if they are true, they're most likely dev kit specs, which are usually very different from what gets publicly released. For example, the Xbox One X dev kits actually had 24 gigs of GDDR5 with a CPU and GPU that were actually more powerful than what was found in the retail product. Specs are always subject to change, and this even happened with the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 back in 2013. The Xbox One received GPU and CPU clock improvements, while the PS4 actually got a slight CPU clock decrease. Also keep in mind that the Xbox One specs were accurately leaked over 16 months before release when someone got their hands on an Xbox Durango dev kit. For all we know, these specs could actually be completely accurate, but on the same token, we just don't know. We're still probably over a year out from the release of any next generation console, so until we get information directly from Microsoft or Sony, these leaked specs will remain unconfirmed. The only thing that we know about the next Xboxes is that it will focus more on 60 FPS gameplay, and the only reason we know that is because we got the information directly from Phil Spencer. From that information, we can try to ballpark specs, but we ultimately won't know until we actually get our hands on a spec list directly from Microsoft, which we still are more than likely quite a ways away from getting. All we can do now is wait and see, but my hopes are high, and I can't wait to see what Microsoft brings to the table regarding the next generation of consoles. So thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and click the bell icon so you'll be notified about all their future uploads. And also, tell us, what do you think about these leaked specs? Are you a believer or are you a little more skeptical? I personally believe that certain information is true, but I also think that some of it is just an informed guess. We really just have to wait and see, in my opinion. But we can't wait to see what you guys have to say. I can't wait to read what you guys think. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.